All right, let's get right into it. If you're planning on putting in a nice, cozy wood stove or maybe a new fireplace, you're probably thinking about how it's going to look, the warmth, the whole vibe. But today, we're going to focus on what is, without a doubt, the single most critical safety component of that entire project, the chimney system.
So let me just ask you, when you're picturing this whole installation in your head, what part do you think is the absolute #1 cannot get this wrong safety piece? Is it the stove? The hearth pad? Just think about it for a sec.
If you said the chimney, you are spot on. And here's the thing you have to understand. It's not just some metal tube for smoke to go up. No, it's a very carefully engineered system, and its whole job is to protect your house from some really, really intense heat and, of course, the weather.
Okay, so this brings us to a huge pitfall that a lot of people fall into. The common thing to do is to try and piece it together. You buy a pipe from this store, a cap from that one. But trying to DIY a critical safety system like this, well, that hides some pretty serious risks. And you can see how it all goes wrong, one step after another. You start with mismatched parts that just don't quite seal right. That little gap, that's where water gets in, causing rot you can't even see. Then the inspector shows up, sees the mess, and boom, project's on hold. But the absolute worst-case scenario, a fire, a critical fire hazard because the system just can't do its job. So, if piecing it together is just a big gamble, what's the answer? How do you make sure every single part is going to work together perfectly? Well, that's where we get to the all-in-one solution.
This question right here really gets to the heart of the matter. This is what people who've done their homework are asking. They know they need more than just some parts. They need a whole solution that they can trust. They're looking for certainty.
And you know what? The answer is actually pretty simple. A complete all-in-one roof exit kit. Companies like Flue-pipes.com, for instance, they've figured this out. They've engineered these kits to just eliminate all the guesswork, all the risk, everything you need right in one box.
So what's actually in the box? Let's kind of unpack the anatomy of one of these kits. Because once you see how all these pieces are designed to work together, you'll really get why a complete system is just so much safer. First thing is the Class A pipe. This is like the super highway for all that hot exhaust. And it's not just any old pipe. We're talking double or even triple-walled, packed with insulation, all designed for one thing: to contain that crazy hot fire exhaust and keep all that heat safely away from the wood framing in your house. All right, next up, the roof flashing. This is your #1 line of defense against rain and snow. It's a metal shield that's shaped perfectly to the pitch of your roof, and it creates this amazing watertight seal right where the chimney punches through. Get this part wrong, and you're basically asking for a leak. And working hand in hand with that flashing is the storm collar. The best way to think about this is like a turtleneck for your chimney pipe. It fits super snug right above the flashing, and its only job is to kick any water running down the pipe away from that main seal. It's simple, but it's a brilliant backup plan.
And finally, we have the support brackets. These are the unsung heroes of the whole setup. They physically bolt the chimney to your house, making sure it can handle heavy winds, piles of snow, and just stay put for years and years. Without these, the whole thing could shift, and that's when dangerous gaps can open up.
So, you've got all these perfect parts, but how do you really know? Really know for sure that they're all safe to use together? Well, that brings us to the most important thing of all, the proof.
And yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? You can have the best-looking parts in the world, but if they haven't been tested as a single unit, as a team, you're still taking a risk. So what's the guarantee?
The answer looks like this: a UL 103 HT listing. Okay, let's break that down real quick. UL is Underwriters Laboratories. They're the independent safety science guys. 103 is their standard for these kinds of chimneys. And that HT at the end, that's the part you care about. It stands for high temperature. It means this whole system has been torture tested to withstand a chimney fire at 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. And here's the absolute game changer. That UL listing, it's not for just one piece of pipe. It applies to the entire system. Every bracket, every screw, every single component in that box has been tested together. It's a guarantee from a trusted third party that the whole thing is safe.
So, let's just wrap this all up. What does all this actually mean for your project? Well, it means you literally get confidence in a box. It takes what can be a really complicated, high-stakes part of the job and makes it simple and secure. So here's the bottom line. With an all-in-one kit, you get every single part you need. No last-minute runs to the hardware store.
You get guaranteed compatibility, so no trying to force pieces together that don't belong. You get a system that is certified safe as a whole. That's non-negotiable. And really, what you get is peace of mind, the confidence that the job was done right.
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this one question. Your chimney, it is not the place to be cutting corners, and it's definitely not the place to gamble. So as you're planning everything out, just ask yourself this: why on earth would you leave the most important safety system in your home to chance?